Hi, and welcome to Punished for Protecting. I'm your host, Francesca Amato Banfield. I am the founder of the National Coalition for Family Court and CPS Reform. We have a very special guest today. Our guest is Richard Provost. He is the president of the West Virginia chapter of the FCLU, which is the Family Civil Liberties Union. I'm very excited tonight to have this gentleman here, all the way from West Virginia through our internet chat program. And he is actually the first person to actually beat a true CPS kangaroo court hearing. I want to encourage our listeners tonight and today, by hearing his story, that this is something that we are doing at this time as a resolution to continue to storm the gate, and that's what we're doing right now. We're gathering as many survivors of the abuse of family court and child protective services as we can, and we're getting all the heavy hitters in here to show you that this can be beat and you can win, and there's various ways to do that. And so, Richard, welcome to our show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We're very happy to have you. Would you like to just kind of start a little bit on how you got involved with the FCLU?
I was just basically, I had tried, I had a nonprofit business license back in 2013 to start my son's organization, Jordan Provost Free the Children Foundation. That fell through. I didn't even get it off the ground. So I was looking for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years to some type of organization or that would help with my case. And then so happily, I got lucky and became the FCLU president for West Virginia. So that's pretty much it. But
well, I guess they liked the work that you did. So now you can spearhead for the state of West Virginia. So, sorry, I had to get the little guy up here. So, okay, so tell us a little bit about what you did and why, why you took this action and what you did exactly in regards to your son and his safety and his welfare.
The going off the 2012, 2014 court hearings?
Yes.
Basically, I was taken to court. It was a standard visitation issue. I put a stop to visitations because his mother was in Alderson Federal Prison for drug trafficking. Well, CPS turns it around on me, and they just started doing her, corrupt tactics. At this time in 2012, I had no knowledge of any CPS laws, the policy, not laws, but CPS policies and procedures. I knew nothing. So I don't know, I just had to study as much as I could. What they were doing, they were talking to my son at school. I mean, this was from the first day. Like I said, I didn't know any laws. And I contacted 2005, 2008 court-appointed counsel that I had and told him to file, I think it's a motion for modification for visitation. He never filed it. He kept telling me that I violated a visitation order, which I didn't. They lied on the petition, stated that I withheld him for like 2 months, and she was in prison for I don't know how long before that. So their little tactics that they were doing were, going to my son's school, talking to him. They were investigating me for like almost 3 months before the first hearing even went into court. And the school never even, bothered to call me. I've always told them do not allow anyone, CPS or anyone, talk to my son at school.
That's right.
And I found out later, I had no knowledge of this going on, that CPS and guardian ad litems were talking to him, like I said, like at least once or twice a week for like 3 months to obtain false evidence. So I had, like I like to express to everybody, friends and family support in and out of court is very critical to your case, period. People were afraid to go into court and say anything. No, everybody has the right to attend court hearings. If anybody has safety concerns of the child, their health, well-being, are allowed to attend court. And they are allowed to take a stand in court and question the judge, give their opinions, question the guardian ad litem. And a lot of people are afraid to do this. And that's what I had problems with. Is I know I love my mother to death, my stepfather. I said, you got to go in there and stand up to these people, or you know what I mean? So I had no support. I had no legal advice, nothing. So to continue, I was receiving before even the first hearing, I was receiving I'm not sure, 3 or 4 fraudulent petitions. Again, at the time, I didn't know any of these laws or whatever policies, that they weren't even filed. It's called legal tomfoolery, which an attorney in West Virginia was actually being sued for that, was not filing anything. A lady in New York, matter of fact, was suing John Oshaway for that. So, yeah, I mean, what they do is you should never get a petition without having a clerk's timestamp on it. I didn't know this. So that basically what they're doing is to make it look like the attorney is doing something, and they're part of the court rigging, hopingly to catch the client off guard and questioning. That's what they try to do to me, and it didn't work. Other facts I'd like to bring up really quick is everybody's so brainwashed to believe that you have to read the law book in court. No, you don't. You only have to go to a medium detail of a law, and if the court has to argue it. See, that's what I did. Is I was barely learning any laws, and this was at the last second. They wouldn't challenge it because they knew I was right. So yeah, that's another good point. No, you don't have to read from any law book as long as you know a medium detail of a law or a policy, and a not so knowledgeable judge that is not knowledgeable in CPS policies and procedures or certain laws, he actually has to get up and review the law and look at it. Well, they never once did that because they knew I was right. So that's what they kept doing and they filed an old case number. My son's old child abuse and neglect case number was from 2005 to 2008 is 05J898. That case was dismissed. The original filing was in 2005 with that case number, and the case number was dismissed, the case was dismissed plus the number is dead in 2008. So they kept filing that same case number. Not only because that basically what they're doing is blocking me from putting a stop to visitations with my son and his mother, like I did 3 times. So what the other trickery behind that is 3 times that I put a stop to visitations. All 3 times CPS got involved, guardian ad litem, and the prosecutor's office.
Yeah, the game.
Huh?
The game. It's their game.
Yeah, and there was collaboration with the school. Be honest, there's education rigging too. There's proof of that. Collaborated with the schools, try to get me on false allegations of educational neglect. It was ridiculous. They just dragged me through it, through all these. I was pretty tore up over it.
Yeah, well, it's very overwhelming what they do. And what you were first saying about them going to your child's school, it's completely illegal. It's against our Constitution. They have no legal right without your consent, without parental consent, to go into and speak to your child. And what's interesting is, I mean, they're still using guardian ad litems. Here, they use what's called an attorney for the child. If a
Yeah.
child under 18 has their own attorney, then they're treated exactly as if an adult had their attorney, which to me is insane. But at the same time, they're supposed to follow the same code of ethics and procedures as an attorney would be retained to an adult.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. They're twisting the child's language. They're lying for the child in place of the child. They're speaking for the child. They're asking the child questions like, who do you want to live with? You don't ask a child that. I don't care if one person is Hitler and the other's Mother Teresa. You don't ask a child, who do you want to live with? To me, that is a form of abuse right there. A child should never be subjected to that at a young age, ever. Because they love both parents, despite if one is wackadoodle and one is good, you know? But going to the school, if you're giving a child an attorney and then you go to the school as a CPS worker, that child now does not have an attorney present. So it would just be like you or I, if someone comes to speak to us, we don't have to answer any questions without our attorney present. So it's in complete violation of the Constitution. And so they do anything, they quote unquote do anything they want to do until the Army continues to storm the gate.
Yeah.
So tell me some of the, you beat a lot of people, and that's what's really amazing about your story and very encouraging to viewers. Tell me the various people that you beat, CPS being one of them, which is Wood County, correct? If I have that right. So amazing.
I'm telling you, and I'll drill it because I make my girlfriend sick and she gets tired of me because I go around the house and she'll tell you that I'm always talking about CPS corruption and the laws, and I got to run it to death because this is what I do. I got to repeat it in my head so I don't forget anything. Right. But maybe it was luck that I won these many times at Kangaroo Court, but I don't know. I don't think that it's a lot of it was God's help, period. But anyway, there are several people involved. Parkersburg Police Department.
I dealt with them myself.
Let me think. Couple of doctors, they stated that the doctor my son was going to see, that he was not a therapist and he was not a psychiatrist, and my son's never went to seeing a psychiatrist. My girlfriend's here, she's a witness, and they said, and he was all part of it too. His online profiles prove he was a psychiatrist. He was treating my son. First started seeing him in 2008 and treating him with post-traumatic stress disorder, ADHD, and a few other things. And this monkey, document fraud. He stated that the first time that he seen my son was in 2011. My new doctor can't even get the records from this associates. You said not to say any names, so the hospital won't release any of his records from past abuse. 2005. The schools lied. They collaborated corruption, and they lied and stated that I was failing my son's education.
Oh my God.
Let me think. Yeah, and it's pretty funny because I pulled him out. I pulled him out of school because I finally figured out that he could not read. He could not do math. They refused twice an elementary school to redo the placement test, but they tell CPS that he needed to be in special needs classes. It was he was illiterate basically up to like I wouldn't say illiterate, but like couldn't read, write very good or anything. When I pulled him out in 2012 at the elementary school, and also pulled him out because of CPS continuing to talk to him. So, and the biggest kicker is I even went through all channels through the state. I filed a complaint with, it took like a year, probably never heard of it, but yeah, there's a Wood County CPS investigation by West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, whatever they want to call themselves, Child predator services or whatever they want to call themselves. They're junk. I mean, but anyway, I'm sorry.
You're right.
I sent like massive, like some of the evidence that you made seen, I sent almost all that. I had 2 complaints dismissed against 2 different Parkersburg attorneys, overwhelming evidence, audio evidence. They said, well, Office of Inspector General stated, oh, well, nothing was found. Lawyer disciplinary counsel said it was insufficient evidence. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, this is, go ahead.
Well, they do that here, and I am privy to thousands of cases across the nation, in my county, Ulster County, New York, and they do the same game. I've looked at forensic medical sex abuse by forensic experts, where it's clear sex abuse, clear, and they go, I'm sorry, I don't see anything there.
Yeah.
No, there's wrong. But continue, I'm sorry.
But it gets even better. Like I said, his mother was in prison. These are facts. You can look it up. She testifies. I cross-examined her. I called it live pay-per-view in court. They wanted me to prove why she was in prison. That's not my job.
Right.
Yeah, they suppressed evidence. I cross-examined her over aiding and abetting, which is you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did that, whatever. They ignored it. They ignored my son's sexual abuse that was recent. They absolutely did nothing.
Yeah.
But if you want to see how I beat him, it was basically, we don't got enough time for my strategy, but it was.
We're going to have you back. We're going to have you back.
But it's basically, a lot of the strategy I came up with, was after the fact. But I was just shutting them down. You know, like I said, you only have to know a little bit of the laws. They can't argue it. And that's how I was shutting them down. And another thing that I did, which I think, because it's all about intimidation. Well, I'm not a person that you can intimidate very well. You know, I'm not like this badass dude or anything like that. Sorry for my language, but I don't tolerate that stuff. My mother said, you need to go in the court and you need to shut up and, you know, listen to the judge. I raised my voice. Matter of fact, I pointed and raised my voice at the prosecutor. Told her it wasn't about my son's education, it was about his safety. Her jaw dropped to the floor, like, you know, they looked at each other like, he's crazy. So that's what you have to do, is once you show the court that you're not intimidated, I guarantee it, I was the first person to ever go in there, because I raised my voice to the prosecutor, the guardian ad litem, the judge, even over talking the judge. Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you completely. And I actually did help a case in West Virginia, right in Parkersburg, under a crazy CPS case. And I walked in and they did the right thing. I told them what I do, and I went in with the client and kicked their rear ends from here to tomorrow, right in their school system. That's good. But in New York, we have one particular judge who we tend to wonder if he's Satan's son or maybe his brother. But you know, my personal opinion of him is he's a complete coward. Anybody that would harm children has something radically and mentally wrong with them, and they're missing their soul. But he actually, I've seen him growl at people. I've seen his entire countenance become this rage-filled, anger-filled person who should never be a judge, because a judge is supposed to be unbiased. The judge is supposed to be even-keeled, you know. I've seen him disrespect people of all ages. It doesn't matter. Like, no respect for elders at all. Like, none of that. It doesn't even exist. You know, you're talking about family law. You're talking about families. You're not talking about, you know, murders, you know, things like that. It's not criminal court. Now, you do have criminals that come through there, but they ignore the criminals. And, you know, and what's in the best interest of the children, that is the biggest joke. It's not true. They don't give a crap about what's the best interest of the children. The children they look at, they dollar signs. They don't love your kids. They don't even love themselves, these people, or they wouldn't be sitting there doing this job. You know. So, but it's amazing, because when I hear your story, and I hear so many stories, It doesn't matter what county, it doesn't matter what state, it's the same pattern of abuse everywhere. They all claim, I don't know if they're doing this with you in West Virginia, but the majority of the people in positions of authority that I deal with, they all say the same thing. I think they tell each other, just say you don't have jurisdiction. Well, it's interesting because if nobody has jurisdiction, what are we doing here then? If there's no jurisdiction, then there's no accountability. If there's no accountability, there's no integrity. And then what are we doing here? You know, every business in the United States has jurisdiction, it has accountability, it has somebody to answer to. Well, the family court doesn't have to answer to, then shake the dust and walk out. What are you doing? Then you have no authority. You have no jurisdiction, and you have no authority if you have no ability.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do they do that in West Virginia too? Is that one of their pet words? We have no jurisdiction here. Do you hear that a lot? Or
I don't know. All thing I know is, you know, I like to plug my strategy guide real quick. I bet if that's all right.
Please do.
It's called The Guide to Parents and Children's Rights to Justice, and basically I've been working on the guide since like 2012, around October 2012, and I still haven't finished it due to the fact, like, you know, I have no help doing it. I'm learning new policies, CPS policies, laws, amendment rights, and as I see like a lot of these strategy guys that beat CPS, they just go too much in detail, a lot of them. And I made it like, you know, for parents like, you know, me put in this position has never been through this. It's easy to pick up, comprehend really quick. It's really simple to follow. And if you follow it, I mean, they're punks. They're punks. They're easy to beat in court because, you know, it doesn't take a law license for your attorney to sit in court like a mannequin, and then the judge agrees with the opposing attorney and finds somebody guilty and throw them in jail.
Yeah.
They talk, you know, how smart and educated attorneys are in West Virginia, but yet it takes a whole damn court system to put one parent behind bars. That's sad.
Right, that is sad.
Just being funny, but that's true.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry but the guide, I'm trying to get it done. Yeah, it's been since 2012. I've been trying to get it done, you know, and hopefully, because I don't think they want me to release it because there's a lot of other stuff that I expose what they do in court, and a lot of, you know, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody that, you know, has created these guides, but they're just simply, you know, like going to court and reading all this stuff. You don't have to do any of that stuff because they don't care. You can sit there and
they
you
don't
just get flagged. Go ahead.
Well, they don't follow our laws. We actually, when you actually do research our laws, and I've actually held the attorneys to the letter there because they don't know our laws. I had an opposing counsel one day during trial actually say, didn't know the difference that we actually had a state county Supreme Court and then a state Supreme Court. They had no clue. This is an attorney that's been practicing for years. The problem is that when they're in here, we have public defenders in the family court. So their job is to work for the family court. They don't really have, a lot of them don't even have their own office. They do it out of their house. They don't have a car, many of these people. They don't have a license because they're drunks, a lot of them. I'm not even kidding with you. And so they you know, forget about their integrity level, but they don't really know our laws. So by the time you start getting in there and actually confronting them with our laws, because our laws are actually very good. There's nothing wrong with our laws. It said they're not abiding by our laws. And it's supposed to be evidence-based practices. A court is supposed to be about evidence, and
relevant evidence.
It's supposed to be, but they don't even allow it into the courts, or they just make up whatever, or they make up frivolous lies, or they indicate a parent that's not indicatable in CPS, and then they don't indicate somebody who would just punch the crap out of their child. You know that because that's going to keep them coming back. Obviously, the calls are going to keep coming in, and that's going to keep the taxpayers paying for the nonsense and the game and the joke. So, but yeah, it's amazing. Our laws are great. Our state laws are great. Our federal laws are excellent, and our Family Court Act is great. It's just that they're not following it, and that's why they need people like you to make them follow the laws. So.
Like I'm sure you're going to ask, what is the progress of the FCLU chapter of West Virginia? Right now, it's pretty slow. I've tried to reach out to over a handful of people. They don't want nothing to do with the chapter because of how bad the corruption is in West Virginia. I was talking to a paralegal from West Virginia that was trying to strike up some type of deal with FCLU founder Greg Roberts in New York. I caught her flat line. I caught her flat line to me about CPS policies and other things, and I disconnected conversations with her. That's the whole problem, is trying to find. That's why, it's going slow, because I can't find anybody that's willing to fight these people or the system, and can't find anybody that's honest. That's where I'm falling at right now, and it's why it's the FCL chapter of West Virginia is going nowhere at this point in time. But I'm trying everything I can.
Yeah, well, hopefully, sorry about that. Hopefully now, with a little bit more, viewers and so on and so forth, we can get your information out to people. Is there a way that they can actually contact you? Do you have, because, potentially there'll be people that will be interested. We do have a lot of advocates. Actually, like I said, one of my advocates is actually on her way back from West Virginia. I do also go to West Virginia. I go to Washington, D.C. I have a very special and unique interest in West Virginia myself. So it's
really?
Funny how, very much so. I had to fight the same Parkersburg police and CPS there myself, which my testimony will be coming out soon. I'm actually in the process of, my book will be out in, hopefully looks like September. Punished for being a mother, punished for protecting, the whole nine. And West Virginia is on the radar, and West Virginia is going to be dealing with me, and just as New York. And it's quite interesting how God puts people together for a reason, because here you are, and you're from West Virginia, of the FCLU there. So
I'm the first FCLU,
Well, the FCLU is a very respected, I really, I have been in some of the chats with them, and, it's growing in numbers. It's really great across the United States, New York, New Jersey. I just know that I do foresee that, the song, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, meaning New York, and they're talking about like singing and dancing and acting. But the bottom line is, if you can make it in New York, beating this corrupt system, which we will do, I have no doubt about it. We have made so many connections in the state of New York, which is, you talk about corruption, it's known as the most corrupt state in the country, upstate New York, Albany, and where I am right now. Actually, I'm actually in Albany right now. But I do see like this major army, and what's funny is here, one of the things, because we've been doing this for a number of years, we got our little Trojan horse right inside the family courts. A lot of the people that they think are victims, trust me, we've got a lot of paper trail that they're not going to be able to do. There's not a thing they're going to be able to do once the bomb hits. You know, and that's just the thing. They've messed with too many families, they've harmed too many children, and they've got, it's interesting to me. I see this court and I see the damages that it does to people. And in Ulster County, for example, we had a Sojourner Truth. And you may know who Sojourner Truth is. But back in the day, she was a, what do you call it? Right in upstate New York, which is amazing. They have a, and I'm actually going to I'll probably do like a little video on here. She actually was a slave. I'm sorry, I've got the wrong, I'm thinking of the wrong person. Am I thinking of Sojourner Truth? And she was a slave, and she was owned by a slave driver, and she had a child with him, and she actually won her family court right in the same court that has this diabolical system that's happening in Ulster County, New York. And they actually have her, monument, and they have her picture, and they have her in one of the Supreme Court in Kingston, but they also have in front of the family court, like her, a sign regarding her, like they're, honoring her. Well, they're not honoring her because they're not honoring her in any way, shape, or form, because they're still taking children. You know, she won, and that's an amazing thing, but her legacy should live on now in this century. And instead, they are abusing parents, and they are abusing children. And to me, that's a coward, because any bully in school is a coward. And when you're an adult and you're in a robe and you're abusing children, you are a coward. It doesn't get more cowardly than that. And any public defender that goes into a family court that already won a case before he walked in, that's like playing baseball and knowing that you're going to win at the end, or, you know, everybody giving everyone now they all get a trophy, no matter who played, who sucked, and who was good. You all get a trophy. There's no, you're not winning anything. You've not become anything. You're not aiming for anything. You're not aspiring to do anything. And you're darn sure not doing anything that's moral and good when it comes to hurting children. You know, I don't know how much value is to you, and it's nice to have nice things, but not when it's on the back of slaves or on the back of children, or abusing mothers, you know, or abusing fathers. That to me is diabolical. So, you know, but I'm saying all this to say that, you know, we are a huge army. We are extremely huge army. There's people who are too afraid to speak up. There's people that I see now that have been built up, and they're ready to do far more than speak now at this point. They're no longer intimidated. I'm seeing people changing, literally changing, and becoming more, you know, like they took their beating. It's almost like they took their beating, and now Rocky's getting up, and I see him rising, you know. So, you know, be encouraged yourself too, because, you know, you're one person, and look at what you've done. And now your story will inspire others. And, you know, I can just see through my efforts, your efforts, and so many other others that I work with, advocates across the entire nation, they'll be joining forces with you in West Virginia now that we've made this connection. So, you know, start seeing that chapter there grow. And with your story, with your testimony, I mean, you kicked some major butt, okay? And that is extremely encouraging, and it's going to be encouraging to the viewers. And, you know, and as the calls come in, I mean, my phone has not stopped ringing. My emails, I can't even keep up with them. I'm going to need a secretary to help a secretary pretty soon.
Yeah.
And, you know, anybody that comes in from West Virginia, and I'm going to give my, you know, website again. Anybody that comes in from West Virginia, you know, I'll just send them right to you. Anybody that wants to be an advocate, because we always request that on the website. We do look for advocates throughout the nation to fill slots in every county, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We don't just have one. We do background checks. We make sure that these are fit parents, you know, so on and so forth. We, you know, we have people that represent one another, that are parents that, you know, will bring stable homes to children, not out there, you know, doing heroin on the corner, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what the judges would like to give the children to, but, you know, we're the parents, and we far surpass any judge.
Yeah.
So, but we will definitely be passing on anybody that is interested in advocating in West Virginia, you know. So did you have any kind of contact information too that you would like to give the viewers?
1 second, I'm trying to,
That's okay.
I don't like my phone ringing off the hook too much. I mean,
email.
but I do, the viewers or whoever wants to get into contact with me, the P.O. box is FCLU West Virginia chapter, P.O. box 226, Belmont, West Virginia 26134, or email me at FCLU West Virginia chapter, Gmail, and Facebook. I keep forgetting. I don't know why. I'm going on 45. I can't remember what I did yesterday. I'm sorry.
All right. And then also for me, you can get on the website, which is www.punished4, and it's the number 4. That would be 4 fingers. Beingaparent.com. www.punished4. Beingaparent.com. Fill out the contact form. We'd like to have you on the show to tell your story, because one of the things that we're wanting to do here is to continue to expose everywhere. And I'm talking about moms, dads, domestic violence perpetrators that, domestic violence. I see that. That's good. That's great. That's right. Without him, we can't do this.
No. You better start praying, I'm telling you.
You have to
praying a lot.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Domestic violence survivors, I don't like to call people victims, and really, it's sad to say they're re-victimized by the judges, but and the child attorneys and all those nonsense, but we'd like to have your testimonies on here. So, call in, email us. The website has the email, has the contact form, rather, has the phone number. If anybody's interested in advocating for Richard, working with him in West Virginia, and like I said, we need people all over. So, we can definitely hook you up with Richard as well. So, and anybody wants to be on this show, we really, really encourage you to send in a contact form. I don't need a book. I don't need a whole book of your story because I don't have time to read it, but just the basics. And then when I'm ready to, get you scheduled to get on here, I'll get a lot more information at that time before your call in. You can be filmed in New York, or we can do it just the way we're doing it with Richard here. So we're like doing a live feed here that you guys will see later. But you can be blurbed out if you're fearful for your life, because we do know what we're dealing with out there. So we can do that too. And but you can tell your story. Now, we're also looking for people that have integrity. Any of you out there that actually have morals, you still have a brain and you still have a heart, we're looking for you. If you're in law enforcement, if you're a judge, a retired judge, because we do have a lot of those actually that are good, that see what's going on in the system and how crazy it is. If you are a CPS worker, let's say, somebody that actually says, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? They're actually abusing children. This is not what I signed up for, but maybe now you feel threatened. Get a hold of us. We can share your story. We can blurb you out completely. We can even make your voice sound like Mickey Mouse. We can do all this kind of cool stuff so that you can tell your story. And we continue to expose, which we're calling Storming the Gate. So contact us again at the website, or you can contact Richard directly, and we look forward to your stories. And Richard, I cannot thank you enough. We plan on having you on again. To continue to tell more and continue to finish with what you're working on, so that you can get that information out to the public, because we're going to see more and more cases. We have to do that for these kids, because here's the bottom line: without our generation, with these kids being able to grow up in safe homes, okay, first of all, our God-given rights as parents, people better stop messing with that. That's number one, because they are going to answer to him, no question. And second of all, well, really, first and foremost, if we don't have kids to grow up safe, and we don't have kids to grow up sane and sound, and we are not going to have a country any longer. So we can continue to fight for all outside of our borders like we are, which is, I guess that's a good mission. But if we stop fighting for what's happening right here, we're not going to have a country to fight for anybody else. And it's getting really close to that. So we need to wake up, and we need to start to do the right thing. And our kids are the most important and most precious things that God has ever given us. So again, thank you so much, Richard. It's been a pleasure to have you on here.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you again. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I'd love to come back on and go over more stuff. Yeah, parents, you need to start standing up for your children, in court. Don't be afraid to take a stand in court. And that's the biggest problem is, there's just no support system with family and friends in or out of court. It's my phone. And that's very crucial. You just got to take a stand. I don't know. They're easy to beat. I beat them on common sense.
That's it. And they don't have common.
No, they don't have any. They're not attorneys. They probably don't even have a license. Yeah, I know for a fact where I'm in, St. Mary's, Pleasants County, I know for a fact there are 2 magistrate court judges that don't have a law license. Wow. They've never even been to law school. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Never even took the bar exam or whatever you want to call. It's just an application. It's just an application. Oh, well, you want to rig cases? Check yes. You want to suppress it? Yeah. They suck.
We have one judge in the area that actually was disbarred for stealing money from her own clients, and now she's a judge. It's just unbelievable. And we have another that actually has, I can't tell you how many times he's been disbarred for drugs, and now he's a criminal attorney. It's like, it's sickening. But we're
Yeah.
going to stop right now. And again, I just thank you very much. We're going to have you back on. And I thank the audience. And again, please go to the website, www.punishedforbeingaaparent.com. Thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.